Our culture is crumbling because people can't afford the basics, let alone luxuries. For many, even raising a family feels like a distant dream. Home ownership is a financial drain, savings are out of reach, and across Europe, birth rates are plummeting. Why has life become so hard? Why are things tougher financially than they were for our parents? One man's night out changed your life financially more than you could ever imagine. In 1990, Roger Douglas casually suggested that inflation should be set at 2%. No thought, no scientific explanation, just an off-the-cuff comment on a night out. In his words, it just stuck. Since then, we've been living through the worst financial hangover imaginable. On this basis, Parliament passed the 2% inflation target into law, and soon the rest of the world followed. It's kind of a historical accident that we have the 2% target to begin with, Lawrence Ball at Johns Hopkins University said. An accident that has had killer consequences. The logic was simple. Keep inflation low, keep the economy stable. And at first, it seemed like a success. Inflation dropped, but over time, cracks appeared. Economists like Janet Yellen warned that ultra-low inflation is dangerous. Wages stopped keeping up, growth stalled, and housing costs soared. The rich got richer, and the wealth gap widened. Everyone else just struggled. In 1975, John and Mary, a policeman and a nurse, meet at 20 and buy a house at 22. A 20-year mortgage means it's paid off by the time they're 42. Mary can take time off to raise their children, and by their 40s they're mortgage-free, financially stable and thriving. In 2025, Connor and Aoife are the same age with the same careers, but home ownership is out of reach. They rent for years, spending 35% of their income on a single room, and finally buy at 30. On a 35-year mortgage, they'll be 65 before it's paid off. And with sky-high mortgage payments, they'll scrape by with no room for savings, no time to raise a family, just debt for decades. The fact the world's central banks accepted an arbitrary number without question is the greatest stain on their credibility in the last 100 years. And we know inflation isn't the only problem. Wage stagnation plays a huge role in this. In the mid-1980s, USA inflation hovered around 3 to 4%. People could afford homes, families were growing, and the economy was still strong. Wages kept up and there was no catastrophes. We need balanced inflation, driven by wages, not speculation. That means rethinking the inflation target and creating a system that works for workers. The 2% rule was never researched, it was a guess. It's time to rethink it. It's time for a fairer economy. Across Europe, trade union members are taking action and will be casting their ballots for an inflation target range between 1 to 5%, among a range of measures required. Workers are standing up to demand an economy that works for them. Join your trade union and demand a future where you can afford to live, work and raise a family. This is your chance to make real change. Together, we will make Europe great again.